we are going to, of course, start with a caddy vid. Now, this one was literally just suggested, so I figured why not. But yeah, we gotta start with a caddy vid. It's gonna be one of the old ones. The Silent Hill. God. The chokehold the Silent Hill franchise has on the gaming community. 7 years ago. Okay. Alright. Y'all ready? Y'all ready?
Do you want an SNES Classic? Great, now I have your attention. Here's how you can get one. In the description below is a link to a competition on behalf of the Pixel Empire, the awesome site where all of my official merchandise and hundreds of amazing gaming blueprints and phone cases are. To enter this competition held by them, all you need to do is go to the link below in the description, and by doing any number of the tasks...
What? I never bothered with getting these, or even wanting them, honestly. I wanted the OGs. If I'm getting a console, it's gonna be the OG. But weren't there like problems where the controller length for the wires were basically like 2 inches or something like that? I remember something about that. Like, I remember that's one of the main gripes people had about them.
You see on screen, you can enter the draw the amount of times it says next to the task. So you can subscribe to my channel, sign up to the Pixel Empire newsletter, or even buy something from the site and get more chances to enter the competition and more chances to win. And if you do decide to buy something, well, don't forget you can save a bit of money with the discount code CADDY on checkout for an extra 15%
okay, so I'm remembering, right?
Gotta be quick though, the competition doesn't last very long.
There's only 1 week left, 7 years ago.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking, but Silent Hill isn't a Christmas game, Caddy. You're such a nipple. Well, no, you're wrong.
Not a nipple.
It's snowing. There's snow.
Not
it's
the
Christmas.
Nips.
It's not Ash. Shut up. That's in the movie. Do you know what else is in the movie? Pyramid Head. He's not in the first Silent Hill, is he? No, so it's snow. By the way, here's proof.
And it's snowing.
Case closed. Merry Chrissy and a happy glue gun.
Alright, it's official, you guys. Silent Hill is officially a Christmas game. Caddy said so. He had video proof and everything. Alright. Prepare your nipples.
Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show. I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not things deserve to be slaughtered or salvaged.
Oh my god.
And yeah, who says that Christmas can't be spooky? In my world, Santa doesn't come to your house and delivers presents under your tree. His anagrammed cousin, Satan Lucas, sells off your beloved franchises to big corporations and turns them into this. Okay, yeah, enough of that shit. It's been a year too many that I've neglected to talk about Silent Hill on this channel, and there's a good reason for that. It's the same reason it took me ages to get to Toy Story 2, Medieval, Parappa the Rapper, and Ape Escape when I am the PS1 guy, and my channel was around for a while when those videos went up. If they're such classics, why didn't I do them much earlier? Well, you know what? Sometimes for a game as special as Silent Hill, I just need to be in the right mindset to talk about it, because I'm sure you all don't want a half-assed video. That's all it is. Especially when it's about something as culturally significant to the survival horror genre as Silent frigging Hill. I guess I could compare this video's creation to the situation experienced by the developers of Silent Hill, Team
Look at them
Silent.
pixelating
a group of developers
of the
split
pixels.
off from most of Konami, who nearly left the company because they were never allowed to express themselves and use their own creative freedom with the games that they made. So everything that Konami made them make for the sake of making them...
I love how, like, it looks better for y'all on the stream, but for me, because I have, like, a slightly older TV as my main screen, it's like, but it's also, you know, pretty decently sized. It's like stretching the old pixels. It's, it looks crunchy on my screen. But when I look at the stream, it looks a lot better.
Failed miserably. Okay, it's not 100% the same situation, but I can relate to the feeling at least, especially when they were asked to create something specifically to compete with Resident Evil and emulate cheap Hollywood horror of the 90s, but after much back and forth, they blatantly told everybody that they wanted to do their own thing. I mean, I remember being told not to do Caddicarus episodes like this at school because it wouldn't work and I should do something more universally appealing, and what did that lead to?
Oh my god.
Yep. Konami had absolutely no faith in Silent Hill
Oh
working the second the
no,
idea
poor
came forward
baby
of a game
Caddy.
created to tickle player emotions actions rather than jumpy reflexes and high sales numbers for the business, so it seemed as though those allegations against the company nowadays weren't so different back in the late 90s. Now, nearly 20 years later, the original Silent Hill on PS1 still holds the world in its grip of originality, and the impact this game had on the horror industry is still shaking today, which I can only applaud Team Silent for.
Yeah, I need to play the rest of the Silent Hill games, because I've played... like, I'm trying to remember... I remember playing Silent Hill 1 with a couple of times, actually, like, different times. Once by myself and once with friends, I think. And then, I think 2 and 3, I only partially played. I can't remember. But yeah, I eventually want to play, like, all of them. Even the later ones that are, like, seen as goofy as hell.
Been known to go quite silent downhill sometimes. And don't even get me started on the fucking Revelation movie. Before I get into the good stuff, though, can I just bring up one thing? The European box art is simple yet distorted. It's eerie and resonates this fear of the unknown. The title font is a little bit off. This face is like the darkness itself is wearing a mask. It's an awesome cover which symbolizes what the game is like perfectly while still being ambiguous and unsettling. So what the fuck is going on with the US box art? I mean, it's a little bit creepy, I guess, but all they've done is taken the main character and inverted his face, thrown other random faces in there, merged them into the snow with a house lit up with a little girl underneath it, and made the text red because red is the color of blood and blood is icky. It's a total mess, this cover, and if
yeah, that's the only cover I've ever seen, like, in real life.
Then if I were American, I'd be massively offended. Anyway, back on point. Let's all gather round,
I've only seen the American one.
into the back of the sofa, wrap ourselves in blankets like a burrito made of human flesh and organs.
Oh, also,
and enjoy.
I do need to play the the horrible Silent Hill HD remaster or whatever for like the first 3 games, I think. Like, I heard it was done terribly, and I need to play those just for a laugh, just to see how bad it is. At least I think it was the first 3, right? Maybe.
One of the creepiest and most atmospheric PS1 intros of all time. This intro makes me feel freezing cold. It makes me feel empty and alone. The music, the choppy 3D modeled FMV that I'd usually hate but works wonders here for the otherworldly atmosphere, and the brief flashes of things to come stitched into the introduction of the story. It's one of the greatest horror game openings of all time, which carries on into the gameplay itself to create one of the greatest horror game beginnings of all time. Once we start the game, we see Harry Mason, our main character, waking up from his car wreckage after he narrowly avoided a strange child on the highway in the intro. But his adopted daughter, Cheryl, is missing, and their initially peaceful family holiday to the resort town of Silent Hill is only gonna get worse from here. However, if you work at IGN, that's not how the story goes. So tell us, oh mighty old and wise IGN, what's the story of Silent Hill?
Silent Hill was keeping the nightmare of mansion crawling alive, sending poor Harry Mason into a scary house after his missing sister.
Oh, you... fuck. Immediately we're in the town of Silent Hill, lost, isolated, and surrounded by terrible PS1 draw distance, but don't worry, this limitation is used to great effect for the game because
like,
this is actually fog that obstructs
if you got, like, any
everything
suggestions,
outdoors,
just leave, like, a comment, or if you're in the Discord, there's a section you can put some in.
And it would continue to use this theme in the future games. A shrouded, secretive world hiding many abhorrent things right in front of your face that you may not even notice. Currently, we're following a young girl we saw that looked like Cheryl, who then takes us to a deserted alleyway behind some garages. The camera angle swoops in and around you.
Yeah, don't you remember? It's the resident Silent Hill of evil. Yeah, that was totally...
for extra sense of disorientation, and then you slowly start transitioning to some strange, hellish dimension that you had no indication was going to be here. There's abandoned body bags on tables, the mangled fleshy corpse of a dog, a siren getting slowly louder and louder as it suddenly gets incredibly dark, leaving you to fend for yourself with a tiny match. And then...
What is this?
Honestly, I don't know. Sorry, PS1, I know that you're trying, but... What the fuck is that supposed to be? Then you're attacked by creatures with knives with no way to fight back or run away now that the doors have been locked behind you.
There should be a link to it in my about
wake up in
section.
another location in the daylight, and you're left questioning what the hell even happened or
Or
even
you
if it
sh-
was
there should be,
real.
like-
Followed by a quick chat from another sane human, Sybil Bennett,
Yeah,
and then an ambush
that's
from a
what it's
demonic
called.
monster with wings that kind
If
of
you
looks
just
like
wanna,
something I
like,
found in my
try to
KFC
find it.
bargain bucket one time. And that is the original
Thank you,
Silent
Yuko.
Hill. The entire beginning of this game is how it feels from this point onwards. A strange sequence of unknown and unexplainable events that you don't even know are real or not. And of course leaving you quite uncomfortable. This game excels in that design choice, and the intro to the game couldn't have portrayed it in a better way. Silent Hill may be trippy and psychological, but it's also a survival horror game at its core. It's not just a ghost train of scripted events that you can't control. You move around in a classic tank style, with every move you make being relative to Harry's position, meaning that if he's facing the camera, he's still facing forward, so hitting up on the D-pad still makes him walk towards the camera. And personally, I never have a problem with this control style. It makes perfect sense to me personally, and it also gave birth to the greatest backstep in video game history. And if you mix it up with the snow around you, this elegant prancing is very reminiscent of an ice skating
That
routine.
backstep.
Anyway, you use tank controls to navigate the town of Silent Hill along with the buildings within it to try and find your missing daughter. And by using maps that you find around the place to jot down notes for puzzles, show locked doors, and use to head towards the next place of interest, you need to be extremely careful with using ammo only when you need to, get into fights only when you need to, and use health as little as possible because there are not that many chances to do that in the entire game. It really succeeds in making you feel helpless and in a huge place against huge odds, especially once the monsters start making themselves known lurking around in the fog. And the fact that you're just an everyman with no combat ability and a funny auto-aim just aids in making you feel more oppressed. Unfortunately though, for as big as it is, Silent Hill itself is not built in the same way Resident Evil or something like that is, at least not for a lot of it during these town segments. Learning your environment and needing to remember shortcuts and backtracking routes to solve puzzles is never utilized, and exploration is seriously not needed at all, seeing as you can just run around every enemy to save tons and tons and tons of ammo,
God.
and you can ignore most major
Goddamn.
places of interest because they don't have anything in them.
He's
making
hoarding
the
all that
outdoor
shit up
parts
his ass.
rather, well, atmospheric and iconic, yes, but ultimately not that great to play or even that much survival horror. There's a lot of one-stop linear progression in these parts as well for such an open area with no choices
Resident
on where to
Evil's only
explore
3
like
years
in
older than
Resi 1,
Silent
and there's
Hill 1?
barely any
I
multiple
didn't know
choices to
that.
juggle between. In these parts,
Like,
you
I
have
knew
to
they
head
came
for
around
one
the same
place, find an
time. They
important
kept getting
item that tells you to
compared
go
to each
another
other.
place, try to get there and find out the route is blocked, so find a note telling you to go to another place, and then you go there only to read that it might be a doghouse, but you're not that sure because there's no dog anywhere except for that dog right there and another dog. And so
No,
during all of these
no,
parts,
I feel like 9 times out of 10, every time you go to that fucking doghouse and it says there's no dog around, it always freeze frames when there's a fucking dog literally trying to jump your ass, like in frame somewhere, and it's a canon event. It has to happen.
the running around gets tedious with nothing going on, countless dead ends you need to find new and cryptic ways of getting around, and no interesting things to see or do. And to be fair, yes, there are some very important story items
It's
hiding in the streets
the game
themselves,
literally
along with
trying to
hidden
gaslight you
weapons,
with a
but
dog
if you wanna
right in
play
frame.
like me and just dart from one place to the next, you aren't necessarily punished for it. And the fact that inventory management is also not a thing you need to worry about with unlimited slots and unlimited saves also strips away what could have
What's
been an
up?
interesting
Thank you for the
experiment in
sub. I
deserted
appreciate
street
it.
searching survival horror and just turns it into a fucking
appreciate
bore.
it.
All these bits really do is make you realise how bloody ridiculous the running animation is.
Oh my god.
Stop!
Fucking,
Time!
fucking
And this
sick.
picture here,
Caddy, the
well,
neighbors.
That shit is scarier than anything I've ever seen in Silent Hill.
Oh, but what's even scarier than that picture? The dialogue.
Where are you going?
Harry, she isn't fucking moving.
My daughter. I've got to find her.
Really? Well, let's go then!
What was that?
I don't know, Harry.
Who in the hell was that?
You just asked me that!
Tell me everything you
was
know.
that?
What's going on?
Darkness.
Jankies.
Though I would be lying if I said the game would be better with decent voice acting. The iffy deliveries and nonsensical gaps in badly written lines add not only a certain charm, but equal unease to the situation that makes Silent Hill feel even more otherworldly. Whether it's intentional or not, though, I couldn't tell you. So we've got the Woodman key from here, the Lion key from here. Oh, I see what you're doing here, game. I bet the next key is the Tin Man.
Oh, you're one step ahead of me, game! And despite the fact I'm not the biggest fan of the actual Silent Hill street parts, the lack of inventory management and lack of save system from Resident Evil is all made up for, in my opinion, once you reach the school, and the true horrific nature of the game unfolds. This is where it begins to get awesome. The tank controls now fight against you in more cramped spaces, making you panic at the smallest enemy, but they're easy enough to avoid once you get your bearings, making it a fair trade-off. You get given riddles and messages written in blood, of course, that describe in detail
Of
places
course.
you need to visit in
It's
order
a
for you to solve
requirement.
puzzles in a certain way in a certain order based on a time that has some kind of relevance to everything, but you don't know what yet. Your torch starts making mundane everyday objects twisted and menacing, and exploring each corridor and room is halted by the same weird creatures from earlier that when I was younger I used to call knob munchers, because look, that is exactly what they do. They chew on
had a
Harry's
demo of
peony.
this?
Before anybody calls me sick for saying that, yes, I get it.
Wonder how
Silent
much that
Hill
goes
is
for these days.
symbolic. It's supposed to reflect dark, traumatic events and unleash personal demons about the characters that visit it. I understand that. But first of all, I'm not even sure if that's exactly what they had going until Silent Hill 2 happened. And secondly, yes, I guess you can argue that these are supposed to be the students of the school, maybe, but come on. Those are not children. They're clearly fucked up monsters with knives. If I want to call them knob munchers, they're fucking knob munchers.
The game not being as mechanically deep
Not
as
the
Resident
knob
Evil is also made up
munchers.
for, in my opinion, with when the game starts teasing you more with the kind of spooks it will present to you once you reach this part of the game. It started off relatively tame at the beginning, but now starts getting a lot weirder. Immediately apparent with your radio going nuts whenever an enemy that you can't see is close to you, which some could argue ruins the surprise of seeing a monster, but with the darkness and fog surrounding you, I argue it makes the game slightly more panic-inducing since you know that something is there but have no idea where it'll come from or where it even is, making some corners in the anticipation of what's behind them a
damn,
little
man, that's pretty
daunting with your
cool.
limited health. The radio in some rooms will freak out once you enter, making you think, oh my god, there's an enemy there, get away, but then turning the camera around then reveals there isn't anything except a dark squeaky toy ghost. Alright, then you'll experience moments like
Not the
this.
squeaky toy of darkness.
And no joke, nothing else happened.
I love how all these years later, IGN is literally just, there's these like hidden gems I still haven't heard about or seen, where it's like they just fucking screw up in some way. They're such a meme. IGN is such a meme. I can't, like, even to this day, they just can't help themselves. They really can't. Ignorant gamers nupties.
It's just a moment of unsettling
that on a
ambience,
t-shirt.
and the fact that similar things happen later in the game, but then it actually follows up with something, makes it toy with your expectations even more. Whoa, check it out, it's my favorite superhero of all time, Super Tuesday! And in the school in particular, once you figure out the order of events you need to solve and use items on other items to collect medallions to open the clock tower, you go through the doors of the tower, only to then end up exactly where you were before. But not quite the same. And this is what makes Silent Hill so special, and what makes it stand out
Looks a
against
little
other
different.
survival horrors of the time, this hell world and fog
What
world
could it be?
system. It's similar to what you experienced at the start of the game, but now a lot worse since you actually have to explore and stay alive in it. The environment now looks 10 times more threatening, and the sound design turns from eerie to awful, with metal grates under your
Yeah, and
feet
seeing
and
these
rusty
older
gear
games,
grinding.
it wasn't just the monsters and stuff you had to watch out for that would kill you. It was also the camera angles. Dun dun ding.
All around you. But where the game starts fucking with you is when you realize the layout is basically the same as where you just came from, but now with psychologically warped differences. You'll go through the girls' bathroom door in this world, only to then come out of the door again an entire one story above where you were a second ago. Gruesome pictures in the fog world are now manifested into real physical things. Staircases and creatures appear
Pixels
where they
as
were
well.
before, and in my favorite transition to the hell world, in the hospital, you have to specifically go to the basement elevator once you turn on the generator and discover that there's now a fourth secret floor that isn't accessible from any other elevator. Jump scares as a whole are rare in Silent Hill, but when they do happen, they totally catch you off guard completely off camera, and often represent a shift in the world around you. And since you have no idea what the hell to expect with this truly fucked up transitioning, it makes whatever is behind the door you heard the noise coming from even more of a mystery. Anything could happen.
Mysterious.
Or the noise could be something hidden in the room that you're in, you just don't
Yeah,
know.
see, that's one of the things when it comes to like horror games in general for me. Like what usually gets me more than like the actual monsters or enemies or whatever is usually the atmospheric sound. Like these sounds just around you, just like it's not even like the sound of the monster or enemies or whatever. It's usually just the atmosphere itself is what usually like freaks me out the most.
What's this?
It's a hole, Harry.
Harry!
Hi, Sybil.
What's this?
It's a hole, Sybil. Come on, guys, it isn't that difficult. Hang on, wait a
Sybil,
second. You're a
come
cop
on
with a
now.
gun and trained to deal with this kind of stuff. Why didn't you come with me from the start of the game?
Sybil, I know you're blonde, but come on.
Toy with you, seeing as you think you know the layout and what to expect, and then bam, there's a tentacle monster in this version of that same room you were in earlier, and oops,
Oh
you're
no,
dead now. One of the
tentacles.
game's highlights for me, in the school again, you're exploring in the fog world only to find a locker room with something shaking in the distance. You examine the locker that's shaking and a cat jumps out, only for the cat to then be devoured out of the room. Then you finish off here, head
Oh my
outside,
God.
and discover that there are more enemies there. But once you enter
Not
the
the kitty
Hellworld
cat.
version of this, the same kind of situation happens again, but what really happens this time, well, I think it's better if I just show you. Reality is literally falling apart all around you, and stewing that together with the extremely
I love how
strange
his
characters in
hand
the
was, like,
cultist
literally
plot I
just
won't go into
hovering
specific
by it.
details about today, creates suspense and unease constantly. If you thought Resident Evil was a little bit too cliche, then you can turn your head to Silent Hill and lose yourself to its unique world of darkness.
Darkness.
And it just gets more insane from there. From the hospital onwards especially, it gets way more intense, with faster enemies able to hit you harder, wiggly brain things growing from their backs, and more aggressive noises happening all around you that make you feel... The visuals from the school Hellworld onwards also get more disturbing and awesome, and yes, I do know about the references to Kindergarten Cop, which is easily the weirdest thing I think I've ever seen in a horror game, so if you're about to write something in the comments, you can just fuck off and...
Not Kindergarten Cop. What the fuck?
Odd choices of references for as disturbing as they are. I mean just the visuals generally. The snow falling and actually landing and melting all around you was a fantastic touch to start the game off with, but once the Hellworld rolls around, well, everything is rotting and decrepit. The atmosphere of abandoned and empty halls is captured flawlessly. Light and darkness is used to amazing effect despite the limitations of the PS1, and it also helps to mask some of the more fucked up and unexplainable enemies later on in the game, so you can't even really make out what's attacking you anymore. It's so good at making you feel like you're invading these creatures' homes. This is just normal for them, and you don't feel welcome. Camera movements are fixed, but follow you surprisingly well, and may be incredibly helpful with giving you indications on where to go next in the open town area, but can be as much your enemy as well, like the fixed camera in Resident Evil, since it can hide monsters around corners and off camera
I saw
really
someone
well.
mention that
And
before. I
like
was
at the
like,
start,
is this my 50th Caddy reaction? If it is, hell yeah, hey, happy 50th. Okay, that was you? Alright. I was like, I could have sworn I saw someone mention it in Discord somewhere, I think. I was like, really? Oh my god, that 50th one that has made it to YouTube. Okay, well, I think the only one I couldn't upload to YouTube, I think there's only been one I couldn't upload because I tried, but it like got immediately blocked by Sony for some reason. I think it was like the nursery rhymes one or something. One of those. And it was weirdly enough, well, ironically your fault. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know why Sony said no. It's really fucking weird. Phoenix! Chance of cake. It is a hate crime that you have to work, especially this month. Thank you for the sub. Oh my god, 53 months, damn.
have those moments of really tripping you out. But these things can be sorted out by holding L2 and flipping the camera directly behind your head so you can have more direct control of what you see in front of you and what's in each room obscured by the looming darkness. The character models themselves, well, I mean, they're alright for the time, I guess, but nowadays they can look a little bit...
Must be on drugs.
That face didn't fuck you up. The music might do it.
No, the music and atmosphere sounds would definitely fuck me up in these games.
So I can't play you long clips, but I hope that with this small montage, you can get the idea of how truly masterful and terrifying.
Can't believe
this
they're
soundtrack
making you
can
work
be.
this month when you could be playing like Final Fantasy and shit. Looking up your porn. I mean, fanfic. I mean.
Silent Hill would not be the same game without its metallic, harsh, industrial noises culminating into musical accompaniment of pure, unadulterated dread. Composed and performed masterfully by the guitarist Akira Yamaoka.
In fact, Silent Hill couldn't be a more inaccurate title even if it tried. This is the loudest hill I've ever been to, and I've been to some fucking loud hills.
The game knows exactly when to use music, when to stay quiet, when to be emotional and sympathetic like in this classic sequence. And whenever it wants to add a sense of tension, build up an apprehension for what's about to come
Phoenix,
next,
I
it
should've
slowly
known.
seeps into the ghastly
Should've
wind
known that wouldn't
noises,
stop you.
drills into your brain and messes you up. In this room, for instance, near the end of the game, I actually wanted to get in and out because of how nasty and discomforting the music was. I felt so unnerved in this room that I solved the puzzles ridiculously quickly and tried to get in and out.
As soon as possible.
I'm not 100% sure on this, but I have read somewhere that some of the tracks in the game were made possible with manipulated dentist drills. That's the kind of soundtrack we're looking at here.
Not
Harry,
the
what do you
special
mean the
manga,
dryer isn't
Phoenix? Oh my
useful? I
God.
think it would be very useful because I just pissed myself. I personally think that the resi mechanics Silent Hill lacks are also made up for in spades by the puzzles in the game. The puzzles in Resident Evil were honestly pretty pants, way too easy and way too obvious, but a nice change of pace from the rest of the game. Here though, these are flat out riddles that rely on tons of different methods of solving that I will not spoil for any of you that want to try the game out. There's a puzzle that gives you a poem about birds which you then have to translate into piano keys, and some of those keys are broken. A puzzle involving star signs and numbers, and with no clues you have to figure out what the relation and pattern between each of them is. A puzzle which requires a specific item to be used on specific things because of a hint to do with light, and then
Yeah,
you have
this-
to translate those patterns into combinations on switches and more. I mean, there aren't that many puzzles in the game, but they really do stand out.
This
and
is
they're
one of the main
unforgettable
reasons,
because of
like,
that.
And they aren't the hardest puzzles in the world, but for a PS1 survival horror game, this has got some
Like,
good brain teasers
you guys
in
know
it, and it makes you
puzzles.
feel even
Puzzles
more
and
helpless
stealth
lost in this other world.
are like
And I don't know if you can
my
see this
kryptonite
exactly, but
in video
these are the
games.
notes I took during my playthrough of about 5 hours or so of the original Silent Hill. I mean, like, it's really cool just to be able to get a pen and paper and make notes on puzzles from a PS1 game in a horror game. I thought that was really cool.
There's even an enemy you need to fight on a rooftop, and the only way to know how to beat it is by reading an unrelated fairy tale book in another room that gives you a clue about what to do, and you need to remember that for this moment, which can easily be forgotten, so you have to pay attention. It's so cool. But hey, this video can't go on forever, right? So let's finish this off for good. After many twists and turns about what happened to Cheryl and what everyone's beef is in this town, we end up at the amusement park where we
The
fight
fucking
a possessed
faces in this
Sybil.
game.
Don't go blasting me by mistake.
Uh-oh!
Well,
I mean, you
this
can
is
save her
awkward.
if you have the right item, but I didn't. And if you have to fight her here, Christ, she is tough. She takes way too many bullets for a person, and her damage output is so high that she can shoot you once, hit you once, and end your game. And after death, after death, after death, I managed to find a good strategy of waiting for her to run out of ammo, and then constantly walk backwards and fill her full of lead. Well, this is a lot fucking easier. After that, we have one last trek through the hell world, and I must be honest, trying to solve the puzzles and stay alive in the dark with no map at all is pretty stressful and a great climax to the game, which is then totally ruined by the final boss. Whichever ending you get, it's pathetic. Spoilers, by the way, don't say I didn't warn you. Because you have to get ready for an epic battle against a god breaking through realities to end all suffering and enact revenge on the entire
Oh
world.
god.
And you know what? For a god, you don't put up any kind of fucking fight. And then after this, we get the most shitty and abrupt ending I've ever seen.
Thank you, Daddy. Goodbye.
This can't be happening. Cheryl?
I mean, I can only blame myself because it was one of the versions of the bad ending, but man, could they have made that any
Yeah, the
less
Discord link,
heartfelt?
I think you could like use one of the
I mean, I know
commands,
it's just as
or
abrupt and even more
there should be
ridiculous,
like
but I
a,
much rather would have gone with the UFO
in the
ending
about
over this.
section there should be a way to,
Around here.
like a link for Discord.
And for that ending alone, phone, Silent Hill gets the salvage today.
Yeah, I don't know if the command will work.
Lovely. And in conclusion, Silent Hill ends unbelievably abruptly and is definitely a Christmas game.
Yeah, I gotta... Oh my god. Caddy. Not the... Oh my god. Yeah, I gotta look at the commands. I haven't messed with them in a while.
Silent Hill, everybody. Yes, it's been a long time coming, I know. And special thanks to all the names
So it
on the
don't
screen
surprise
right
me
now
if
that
some of
went
them
into
don't
the
work.
description below and looked at the Patreon page to support this channel during YouTube's darkest times. You have no idea how much you're helping, so thank you so much. And special thanks to the top tier supporters that you can find out how to get yourself if you look in the description below. Omar Matu, Patrick Ferguson, Basil, Andy Ellis, Robert Alamsha, I Have a Portal Gun, Gamer Man, Tiago Pereira, so sorry if I pronounced
Oh, you
that
found
wrong,
it? Okay,
AD
that's good.
Thornton Smith, Oblivion Rising, Noxious, Kane
more
Stewart,
doggo.
Ellen Rilpley, Kirsten B, QB, Nathan Young, and Nicole Ganara. Thank you so much again.
Oh god, Silent Hill. I do need to play those games. I need to play the awful HD remaster thingies of the first three, and then I need to play the rest of the games. Because 1, 2, and 3 are the only ones I've actually played before.